Leo, something extraordinary is unfolding around you right now. This is not just a message of hope, it's a divine announcement. You are about to swim in money. The enemy who secretly wounded you is being removed from your path. And true love, real, grounded, undeniable, is finally on its way to you. This video is not an accident. You didn't land here by chance. Whether you clicked this out of curiosity, desperation, or something you can't quite name, know this: your soul made an appointment with this exact moment. Because if you're a Leo standing at the edge of change, wondering when justice will come, when abundance will break through, or whether love still has your name on it, then what's about to be revealed may shift everything for you. I want to start by honoring your presence here. Thank you for making space for yourself, for listening, for showing up even if you've been hurt, betrayed, or overlooked. The universe hasn't forgotten you. In fact, it's been preparing this message for you long before you arrived. What you're about to hear isn't just a horoscope. It's a sacred activation. A divine echo. A message that blends astrology, tarot, energy healing, and timeless wisdom to help you reclaim the life that has always been yours by divine inheritance. Leo, you've been through fire spiritually, emotionally, and maybe even financially. You've trusted people who didn't deserve your loyalty. You gave love where there was envy. You held on when you should have let go. But now, the cycle has turned. The karma is real. The shift is undeniable. And the reward is unstoppable. In the next few minutes, you'll discover how massive wealth is already forming around your energetic field. You'll hear why someone who tried to poison your light is about to be completely removed spiritually, emotionally, and energetically. And you'll be shown signs of a soul-level love connection that is finally coming to find you, not to hurt you, not to test you, but to stay. This isn't just a prediction. It's a reset. An invitation to walk into a new timeline where you no longer have to earn your worthiness or question your power. So if anything I've said already resonates deep inside your chest, if your body feels stirred, or your heart is beating a little faster, don't ignore that. That's confirmation. That's alignment. That's your higher self saying, yes, this is for you. I invite you now to anchor this moment by commenting below. I am ready to receive what the universe has prepared for me. Your words carry energy. Let your declaration be heard in the ether. And let me also take a moment to say something important. Thank you deeply and sincerely for being here. Every like, every comment, every new subscriber helps build this community of light and helps us continue delivering messages that uplift, awaken, and heal. Leo, stay with me until the very end of this video. What the universe is revealing today is not just beautiful, it is life-changing. Your spiritual inheritance is calling. Your name is written on the breakthrough. And by the time we're done, you will see why none of your pain has been in vain. Are you ready? Because everything starts right now. Leo, if you've made it this far into the message, it means your spirit already recognizes that something sacred is shifting beneath the surface of your physical life. What's coming isn't just a minor improvement or a casual lucky break, it's a full-blown, divinely orchestrated financial rebirth. And the truth is, your soul has been working toward this for years, even in moments when your mind couldn't see the outcome. The energy of Ace of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and the world together forms a trinity that is rare and unmistakably abundant. It tells the story of a reward not born from chance, but from alignment. The ace is the seed, the spark of potential. The king is the steward, the wise architect who knows how to hold and grow wealth. And the world is the completion of a cycle, the moment where harvest finally replaces hunger. This is not the kind of wealth that arrives to tease you and then disappear. It is the kind that settles into your life like roots into the earth, stable, grounded, and able to expand. In astrology, Leo governs not only the heart and the spine but also creative force and personal glory. You were born to shine, to generate, to lead. But let's be honest, shining in a world that has tried to dim your light hasn't been easy. You've often had to give your brilliance without receiving in return. You've poured your energy into others, into work, into holding it all together, and you've done so with dignity, even when your own cup was nearly empty. But now, the energetic debt is being repaid. What was withheld is returning. The contracts that fell through, the recognition that was delayed, the compensation that felt overdue, all of it begins to swirl back in your direction like a divine current. Some may call this luck, but those who know the quiet labor of spiritual endurance will recognize it as harvest. Even in Scripture, we are reminded that those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. This is exactly what's being activated now, the sacred shift from scarcity to sufficiency, from delay to divine timing. And this moment is not just about the money, it's about what the money represents. Security. Options. Legacy. The ability to rest without guilt. The freedom to choose a different rhythm. Still, with this increase comes responsibility. Energy that flows must also be directed with intention. One of the most empowering things you can do now is to build a conscious relationship with your finances. Consider splitting incoming abundance into 3 rivers, one for living, one for planting, and one for growing. Spend with gratitude, save with confidence, and invest with vision. The goal is not just to receive, but to become a vessel that knows how to multiply what is sacred. For those of you in creative industries, healing professions, or entrepreneurial paths, the cosmic support is particularly strong. Look for signs of expansion through new clients, commissions, audience growth, or unexpected partnerships. This is also a time when what once felt stagnant may begin to move again, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally aligned with ease and trust. Energetically, you may notice the color golden yellow appearing more in your environment or dreams. This color is tied to divine prosperity and solar magnetism, fitting for Leo, ruled by the sun. Surround yourself with warm hues, wear them, paint with them, meditate on them. They will awaken both creative and material flow. And if you begin to see the numbers 8, 28, or 44, know that these are not coincidences. They are messages, 8 for infinity and wealth, 28 for the fruition of a lunar cycle, and 44 for protection and financial growth. These are signs that you're being watched over as you enter this next chapter, not just by unseen spiritual guides, but by the version of yourself who always knew this moment would come. Stay with me, Leo. We've only just begun. And what's coming next will shake your soul awake. Leo, as we move deeper into this reading, I want to gently guide you into a space of awareness, one that might feel uncomfortable at first, but is in fact the doorway to your next liberation. This part of your journey is not just about what's arriving, but also about what's finally leaving. Energetically, we cannot fully embrace the new until we allow the old to fall away. And for you, What's falling away is the lingering presence of someone or perhaps several people who once stood close but never stood true. If you've ever felt drained after a conversation, uneasy around someone without knowing why, or like your confidence slowly eroded in the presence of a so-called friend or family member, you are not imagining it. These are subtle energy fractures, moments when your light was quietly siphoned by people who couldn't stand how brightly you shine. The truth is, Leo, not everyone claps when the sun rises, and you, ruled by the sun, are a natural bringer of warmth, visibility, and life force. But those who operate in shadows are often threatened by light they cannot control. The tarot brings forth the death card not as a harbinger of fear, but as a sacred release. It confirms that this viper energy, the masked jealousy, the false praise, the quiet sabotage, is being permanently severed from your auric field. The cords are being cut, not by your hands, but by the spiritual laws of cause and effect. You didn't need to retaliate. You didn't need to fight fire with fire. You simply kept growing, and your vibration outpaced their reach. That is the true justice. From a self-healing perspective, this is your moment to reclaim your personal power, not through revenge, but through reverence for your growth. I invite you to pause and reflect. Who or what once caused you to dim your light just to feel safe or accepted? Who made you feel like too much, when in truth, you were simply being whole? These are not just memories, they are signals, helping you locate the places where your energy is still entangled with narratives that no longer serve you. One gentle yet profound exercise you can do is to write a letter to that person or to that version of yourself who tolerated less than you deserved. You don't need to send it. This is a sacred container for truth. Name the harm. Name how it made you feel. And then name your freedom. Afterward, if it feels right, burn the letter safely. As the paper turns to ash, visualize the weight of that relationship releasing from your shoulders, returning to the earth, transformed. This is not destruction. This is alchemy. Another healing tool is to meditate with violet light surrounding your crown, your seventh chakra, the seat of divine clarity and detachment. Visualize the light dissolving all cords of guilt, obligation, or shame that were never yours to carry. Breathe deeply, letting go of the responsibility to heal or fix those who chose to harm. When we talk about emotional betrayal, many think only of grand betrayals. But the deepest wounds often come from the micro-cuts: being interrupted, being ignored, being half-celebrated. You deserve full celebration. You deserve to be seen without distortion. This is a turning point, Leo, not because someone else is falling, but because you no longer need to shrink to avoid their envy. You've outgrown their version of you. You've stepped into the truest frequency of your worth. And that's why they can no longer touch you. Their access has expired. So take a breath. Honor your release. And prepare your spirit, for what's coming next is built on the foundation of everything you've overcome. Your energy is no longer up for negotiation. Your light has been restored. And the crown that once slipped is back where it belongs. Leo, as you move forward on this journey of release and restoration, the space that has been cleared around your heart is now being prepared to receive something rare, something real. Not the kind of love that demands performance, fixes, or compromise of self. Not the kind that comes in waves and leaves in silence. This is different. This is sacred alignment. And for the first time in a long time, you may finally feel what it means to be loved as you are, not as you pretend to be, not as someone else needs you to be, but as your soul longs to be. When we speak of the Two of Cups, we are not speaking of infatuation. We're speaking of mutual reflection. This is the connection that mirrors not just your strengths, but also your shadows without judgment, without fear. It is a bond that sees the totality of you and says, even this, I honor. Love like that doesn't happen often. But when it does, it changes everything. The star follows this message not by chance, but by divine sequence. It suggests that your heart has already begun healing in ways you don't fully understand. You may have noticed yourself thinking more tenderly, trusting a little more, or dreaming again quiet dreams, fragile ones but they're alive. That's the sign that the old heartbreak no longer owns you. That your nervous system has softened enough to allow joy to enter again. That your inner child, once cautious, is beginning to look out the window with wonder. And when you combine the star with the Hierophant, something beautiful happens. The soul no longer searches in the shallow waters of attraction. It becomes anchored in depth, value, purpose. This next love isn't entertainment. It's evolution. It may come through shared learning, mutual mission, or co-creation of something larger than the relationship itself. Perhaps you meet them through your work, through a healing space, or a conversation that was never meant to go that far but suddenly does. With the Three of Pentacles, this connection reveals itself not in passion first, but in partnership. In the way they listen. In the way they show up consistently. In how you feel safer, calmer, more like yourself. Not more excited, more grounded. And that's how you'll know, not through a rush of dopamine, but through a subtle and steady deepening. The kind of love that doesn't erupt like a firework, but builds like a cathedral. Still, for love like this to arrive and stay, it requires you to show up from wholeness, not from hunger. That means releasing the belief that you are too complicated to love. That your emotions make you difficult. That your depth makes you hard to reach. You are not hard to love. You have simply outgrown the kind of people who only knew how to love small. So, open your heart, but do so from the place inside you that has already done the healing. Not the place that begs for rescue. Love should not have to dig through wounds to find your essence. Let the healed parts of you lead this time. Let peace not urgency your compass. If you feel this message in your chest, if your body softens while reading this, or if you can already feel the pull of someone approaching, not in the outer world yet, but in the inner stirrings, write it down. Declare it. Speak it into form. Comment below, I am ready to love from the wholeness of who I am. This isn't just about romance. This is about your soul finally meeting a reflection it can rest inside. A love that arrives when your hands are no longer grasping. A love that enters when you are no longer trying to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. Stay open, Leo. What's coming is already looking for you. After walking through the sacred terrain of healing, and witnessing the reclamation of your heart space, Leo, what unfolds next is not just a reward, it's a rebirth. You have already been through the sacred fire. You felt the weight of expectations, both your own and others, and you've worn armor that wasn't always yours to carry. But now, that armor begins to melt. The energy in this phase is tender, yet immensely powerful. It whispers, not shouts. It invites rather than insists. It asks, what would it feel like to be fully you, without defense? The appearance of the hermit, the strength, and the hanged man speaks to an inner alchemy. You're no longer seeking validation in loud achievements or external confirmation. Instead, you're resting into the knowing that your presence, your quiet, radiant being is enough. This is the essence of divine maturity, when you stop overproving your worth and start living from it. The hermit teaches us that solitude isn't emptiness, it's a sanctuary. That going inward isn't isolation, it's invitation. And for you, Leo, it's the moment where your light returns to its source and shines from within. Strength doesn't show up as a call to fight this time. Instead, it confirms that your capacity to hold both emotion and clarity has deepened. You've learned to set boundaries without bitterness. To say no without guilt. To rest without fear of being forgotten. There is a new kind of bravery blooming in you now, one that's rooted not in resistance, but in receptive power. It is the courage of softness. Of saying, I don't need to perform my pain anymore. I just need to live my truth. The hanged man, often misunderstood, is your reminder that pause is not punishment. This sacred stillness, this divine suspension, is recalibrating you to a higher rhythm. It's not about doing more. It's about seeing differently. You are not stuck, you are steeping in clarity. When you emerge, it won't be with urgency, but with direction. You'll stop running toward what you were never meant to chase and start moving with what's already aligned with your soul's architecture. To support this transition, I encourage you to carve out a daily ritual, just 11 minutes of intentional stillness. Light a candle in the color orange, the frequency of passion, creativity, and second chakra energy. Let the flame be your mirror. Ask it, what part of me is ready to return? What fire did I bury in survival that is now asking to be reborn through expression? Let the candle witness your becoming. And if the universe is already speaking to you in symbols through repeated numbers like 44, 555, or 777, know that these are not random. These are initiation codes, vibrational keys opening doors in both the seen and unseen realms. 44 brings the energy of foundation and divine support. 555 announces change that is divinely guided, even if it arrives in unexpected packaging. 777 signals that you are in sync with your higher path, even if the road is quiet right now. When you see these signs, don't just notice them, respond to them. Pause. Breathe. Write down the dream that keeps returning. Not the dream that's practical. The one that's real. The one that wakes you at 3 a.m. in a whisper. The one that has your name written on it in light. Send that dream skyward. Speak it out loud. Trust that it is not too big, too late, or too complicated. You were not given that vision by accident. It was planted in you because you were meant to bloom it into being. This is not just a new chapter for you, Leo. It's a whole new language, and this time, you're fluent in your own soul. Leo, the moment has come when the old shell no longer fits. You may feel it already, an internal stretch, a pull toward more breath, more space, more truth. This is not restlessness. This is resurrection. The tarot lays before us a sacred trilogy, the Judgment, the Sun, and the World cards that don't merely mark an ending, but an ascension. These are the markers of a soul that has completed a karmic cycle and is now being elevated into a new dimension of experience. And you, dear Leo, are not just being called forward, you are being chosen by light itself. Judgment is the voice that rises after long silence. It is the reckoning, not with punishment, but with purpose. It's when everything you've lived, every tear, every detour, every quiet, no more, begins to align and make sense. This card says you're no longer meant to sleepwalk through life. Your higher self is sounding the trumpet. Not out of obligation, but out of readiness. You're ready to live like your spirit always wanted you to. Then comes the sun. In the realm of tarot, this is the most radiant energy of all. It says, no more hiding. You've been dimmed too long. There's no shame in how long it took. The wounds that asked you to shrink were real. The betrayals that closed your heart were sharp. But now, the light is not only outside you, it's within you. You are the warmth. You are the clarity. And what's being activated is not temporary happiness, but sustained radiance. The kind that doesn't depend on applause or achievement. The kind that says, even if no one claps, I will still shine. The world seals this transformation. It is the final card in the major arcana for a reason. It represents wholeness, moment where all fragmented versions of yourself return to the center and merge. You're not just healed. You're integrated. And from here, life expands. Opportunities align. You begin to attract from a place of inner coherence, not desperation. This is when your soul no longer fits into roles, titles, or relationships that require you to bend away from your truth. It's when you stop settling, not because you're picky, but because you finally remember who you are. And just as this completion begins, Ace of Cups arrives as a final blessing. This isn't a random signet, is divine affirmation. This cup overflows with unconditional support, and it's not just romantic love that's coming. It's the love of purpose. The love of being seen, not just for what you do, but for the essence of who you are. It's the kind of emotional reset that clears out residue and leaves only sacred space. This cup reminds you that your heart is no longer a battlefield. It is a sanctuary. And now, it's ready to hold love, abundance, and clarity all at once. As a practice of integration, I invite you to write a letter not to a person, but to your past self. Thank them. For surviving. For enduring. For protecting you the best way they knew how. And then, forgive them. For staying silent too long. For not knowing how to ask for more. Forgiveness is not excusing the pain. It is releasing yourself from being bound to it. And when you do, you shift time. You change your relationship to everything that has happened. You are not broken. You are being shaped. Now, Leo, your story doesn't begin August, it begins true. The world is ready for you. But more importantly, you are ready for you. Leo, you don't have to ask for permission to rise anymore. You don't need to dim your light to make others comfortable, and you certainly don't have to explain why you're finally choosing yourself. The very fact that you've made it to this moment, through every lesson, every heartbreak, every unseen battle, is proof that you were chosen for something more. The light within you? It was never gone. Just waiting for you to stop apologizing for it. As you leave this space, I invite you to ask yourself gently but honestly, what am I still waiting for to believe that I'm ready? What story am I still holding on to that says, not yet? The universe has already said yes. Now it's your turn. And here's the secret most people miss. it's not about waiting for everything to feel perfect. It's about choosing anyway. Choosing joy over fear. Movement over stagnation. Faith over doubt. You are not here by accident. If this video stirred something in you, an inner recognition, a deep exhale, a sense of home, know that your soul aligned with this message because it is time. Not someday. Today. You are the writer of your story, the healer of your wounds, and the architect of the love, abundance, and purpose that are already within reach. You don't need more time. You need more trust. So I lovingly challenge you, what will you do today that your future self will thank you for? What can you start, release, or claim, even in a small way, that says, I am no longer waiting to be who I already am? And if this reading touched your heart, if you felt seen in ways you've never quite been before, then drop into the comments and affirm your shift. Write this with intention: I am the light. Money flows to me. Love surrounds me. This life is mine. Let those words be the first ripple in the reality you are calling in. Your presence here means more than you know. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe or share, helps Eternal Mindfulness grow and continue bringing these transformative messages to those who are ready to receive them. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of this sacred space. Thank you for saying yes to yourself. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are right on time. You are not alone. You are deeply, divinely supported. So stay close, stay open, and stay in your light. Because from this moment on, Leo, everything changes because you do. I'll see you in the next reading. But until then, trust, act, and rise. This is your time.